right?
Fiddler on the Roof. This movie is too big for any video review, but I want to hit 4 scenes that I think nail why it's the best movie musical of all time, maybe. They're all in the first act. Number 1, If I Were a Rich Man. I don't usually go in for the big showstopper numbers. Something about theatricality doesn't really ring true with me, and that's a personal thing, but there is a moment during Tevye's belter, If I Were a Rich Man, that just kills me. He sings a lot about how life would be if you were rich, stairways that go nowhere, his wife getting fat and yelling at the servants, but then he gets to what Tevye really wants. His daughters have hinted at this already earlier in the film. Tevye wants his sons-in-laws to be scholars. He is most deeply wounded when his third daughter, Havala, the intellectual, rebels against him, and he invites Perchik, the radical from Kiev, to stay at his house almost immediately when he meets him because he hungers for conversation. His biggest problem with the rich butcher Laser Wolf, who wants to marry his eldest daughter, is not that Laser is old, which does bother Tevye a little, but that he has really nothing to say outside of commerce. So, during this song, the place where Tevye absolutely loses his mind is when he talks about people coming to ask him theological questions. Questions that would cross the rabbi's eyes. Never mind that Tevye has proven himself incapable of quoting scripture correctly. I'm pretty sure he never quotes the good book correctly even one time throughout the whole movie.
As Abraham said, I'm a stranger in a strange land.
Moses said that.
Forgive me. As King David said, I'm slow of speech and slow of tongue.
That was also Moses.
But he quiets down here and he fantasizes. He could sit 7 hours to pray and read the good book every day.
And that would be the sweetest thing of all.
Number 2, The Sabbath Prayer. This song is a little schmaltzy, and a lot of this movie is a little on the schmaltzy side. Essentially, the parents, Tevye and Golde, are singing a prayer for the future of their 5 daughters, and they don't realize that 2 of their daughters' future husbands are actually sitting in the room. The moment I love most is when the camera focuses almost accidentally on Model and Havala, the second and third daughters. The parents are singing, "May you be like Ruth and like Esther. May you be deserving of praise." The thing is, Model is like Ruth. She ties her fortunes to someone who's going to take her far from home. She marries a strange man for love. And Havala is Esther. She marries a Gentile from the oppressive ruling class. Now, her husband turns out to be a really good guy, and although Tevye disowns Havala for marrying outside their faith, her husband is exactly the sort of straight arrow intellectual that Tevye wanted. Be careful what you pray for. You're going to get it. Number 3, Lechayam. So Tevye promises his eldest daughter, Tzeitel, to the rich butcher Laser Wolf, which is incidentally the coolest name ever. I kind of wish I had children so I could name one of my kids Laser Wolf. Anyhow, the 2 men hit up a local tavern and they drink a lot. And in the midst of their celebrations, they bump into a bunch of Russian soldiers. Tevye literally bumps into one of them, and there's this tense moment, until the Russian teaches Tevye how to dance. And suddenly the Jews and Christians are celebrating together, and there's this glorious moment of showing us how we can be at our best. Immediately afterwards, Tevye gets warned by the commissar that he's been ordered to have a demonstration. The demonstration will happen during Tzeitel's wedding, and then we see the same young men who wished a happy marriage to Tevye's family knocking over tables and tearing up the wedding gifts. This often is who we are. Number 4, The Wedding. This 20-minute stretch could have been a movie on its own. From the sunset procession, to sunrise sunset, to the bottle dance, to the quarrel between Laser Wolf and Tevye, to Perchik's insistence that dancing between men and women is totally cool, and Tevye bellowing that,
And I'm going to dance with my wife!
and the rabbi getting tricked into dancing with Tevye's sexy daughter, and then it all crashes in. And Tevye is left yelling at his family.
Why are you all standing around? Clean up!
I can't think of another movie that packs so much into such a tiny space. Now, you could say this movie is too long. Roger Ebert pointed out that the structure is essentially just a joke. A Jewish milkman walks into a bar with his 3 daughters. But except for perhaps the farewells at the end, none of it really feels long to me. And even then, the farewell with Havilah feels like it's been earned. And the embrace between Tevye and Laserwolf kind of breaks my heart. In a funny way, this seems like a realist musical. The dancing is excellent, it's athletic, but it feels like it's less trying to dazzle us than it's trying to just share something. The music is maybe a little overproduced in a 1970s way, but it's not trying to be clever, even when it is clever. I used to tell students that every subject on earth could be answered with a quote from Hamlet, and I feel that somewhat with Fiddler. You want a movie about faith? You got it. Politics? Yeah. Racism? Uh-huh. Family, sex, love, gender, technology, nationality, drinking, economics, academia, social class. Yep. And that's all without mentioning the central word of the film.
Tradition!
Tradition! Tradition!